wants to have. There's just a small chance that the deck breaks because all you need is the genius Sunseed Lokai.
Once upon a time, there was a part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where if you drew a normal monster, you'd be in a really bad spot. But in this specific scenario, Julius does really want to see a normal monster. That's a petal coming down here. Not too bad. Not the ideal normal summon.
Vamos a hablar un poquito
still a decent starter in its own right.
Top 4 todavía, ¿sí? Este es el segundo top 4. En el anterior ganó el Vanquish, ¿no? Aquí tenemos Rika versus Unchained. Empieza con Rika Peel. ¿Vamos bien? Correcto.
Or you could say he got a mentorship from Stefano Memoli, one of the OGs. And if you remember how Stefano Memoli used to play, he was exactly this stoic. So, yeah.
I played versus Memoli in Prague 2016.
Yeah, so you know,
yes,
he doesn't give out any expression. Yeah.
Easy 2-1 victory, just
Okay.
and there's the Ash Blossom on the Rika Glamour, but there is, I think,
we tributed anyway. Nice. Okay, so trigger the Strenna, despite having the Ash there, so does get the special summon itself out the hand here.
Empieza de la mano special. Okay, la princesa.
The princess that was added is indeed still in the hand. We can overlay into the Strenna detached to recycle a card from the graveyard. Now, do we still have a way to keep playing after this? That's the question. 2 cards remaining from Julius here.
Está bien, perfecto.
Let's see.
I have barely ever seen a Rika combo stopped by a single Ash Blossom. Is this maybe a first? Is Lorenzo's Ash Blossom just that powerful? Oh, we have the Concon already, so that means we can set a
Concon en la cancha.
We have already used Glamour, but we could maybe get a sheet.
Yeah, I think it would be quite a underwhelming opening to just end with Strenna.
Agrega la semilla.
Despite that, it would still be Hypertron plus the steal and tribute for cost effect. So even if we stop here, this isn't completely horrible.
No.
And of course the negate as well in the graveyard, with the princess. So despite the Ash Blossom, Julius isn't in too bad of a situation here. Lorenzo with just a single Ash Blossom so far coming down.
But we also have to mention...
And that's a pass.
Yeah, the issue is that to guarantee the princess, you need to keep Rika on field. So basically, that's what he is.
No ha abierto bien, por lo que veo. Bueno, una colocada que es la semilla, pero no más.
Yeah, so you should be able to always control a Rika here. Now the question is, how far can Lorenzo extend with the Unchained? We haven't seen it on stream too much this weekend, despite the fact that it is arguably one of the sort of decks to watch out for. Although it didn't make the highest top cut representation, did it?
That is true, but I think from top 32 on, it was definitely the most played one. I think with 4 contenders, whereas the second most played deck was Tier Limit with 2, and other decks with 2 as well, like the Wonderies.
What can I say? Tier Limit players just weren't
milling
correctly. That's kind of on their fault, right?
Okay.
That is definitely also what happened in top 8, if I remember correctly.
Selección de muestra que tu planta controla, también tú puedes tributar un planta.
However, Lorenzo
Los
is starting
no
off
pueden
with
activar
the
cartas.
Tour
Ok, Tour Guide.
Shoutouts to Tour Guides. Gotta love to see that in any deck.
Vamos a pensar.
Yeah, agreed. I do actually agree, and I think this is going to special summon out a Fiendish Rhino Warrior.
Bueno, la ventaja de la Rika Concon es que le va a permitir tributar un monstruo del oponente, ¿no?
The best deck in the format right now. So
bold statement.
That's a very strange thing for you to say after witnessing a Guido.
But it's true. It is able to play through many
trae Rhino. O sea, abierto bien.
I want to say lackluster field that Julius put up could actually not be too strong.
This is really scary here. If we have a Shavara in hand by Lorenzo, we can actually dodge the steal here.
Yeah.
As the Concon should be tributing this Tour Guide for cost, and no, it resolves.
Tributa Tour Guide y toma el control
de
Rhino, ¿no?
You would print it instead the Tour Guide. That was also a possibility on Julius' side, but
could be
sería hoja de Rika.
Probably a little bit afraid of thrust. Maybe you want to leave that line to the last possible moment potentially.
Está pensando, parece que no tiene más. A ver.
Lorenzo still has some options here.
Usually you would
activa
one, but still.
Abomination.
Prison does get you any Unchained card from your
para agregar
here,
cualquier carta
Unchained. You can go for Aruha as the extender. We could go for the trap if we already have her. Him, I think. Aruha.
Yeah.
They're twins.
Or you just summon it, run over the Rhino, and send Shavara to the graveyard.
It is your own Rhino, technically. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It is. You search Archaea, attack over it, set a card, and then you get
agrega Shavara, ¿no?
But you can also search for the Shavara. I wonder why that did not happen earlier. Maybe
esa carta va a salir reeditada en Ultra.
Want to give this away. He wanted to bait out the Ricochet on this.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I suppose if you reveal that you have Shavara to your opponent, you could choose to sheet at a different time. Okay, so, I mean, there really isn't a ton of ways to extend here other than setting. So, yep, here it comes. We do have the set after all, and the Shavara will be negated by the Princess. It remains in the hand, very important. A lot of negates typically will destroy. That's definitely not a card you want to be able to trigger in your opponent's hand with the Shavara. So we're negating by attributing our pawn.
La miércoles, no tenía nada más. Colocó una carta, pasa.
Queen or the Hypertron.
Ok. Este es el que niega monstruo, trampa o magia, dependiendo del material que tenga, ¿no?
Alright, do me a favor, let me see this. Hyperiton.
Hypertron's fine.
I've been saying it wrong this whole time. Okay, I thought it was a machine, you know? What can I say?
Well, okay.
Get it?
Sidekick Beatrice, Hyperiton.
To explain it, but now, yeah, fair enough.
Pide dos monstruos nivel 9.
The Italian card text of Hyperiton on the field here for Lorenzo to have a double check.
Because
activa atrás.
Wow. That is very strong.
All right,
nice bait, I want to say, maybe.
Yeah, it was an incredible play because, you know, he forced the negation, and that if he would have allowed it, he would have just destroyed his own trust. That was a heads-up play by Lorenzo. Wow.
500 IQ, what can you say?
That's
Italians.
That is
Italians, that's what we do.
Había cogido, triplete, tactics.
Okay. Yeah. Picks up the talents, and do we force out the Hyperiton?
Toma el control de...
Okay, we're forcing it out.
Perfecto.
I mean, this is incredible if we go and attack over here. We can attack, Fiendish Rhino send Shavara, Shavara sets a card, and then maybe make a Zeus, I assume?
This is great.
Perfecto.
I think people do typically play Zeus in their Unchained lists if they're running talents.
Va a enviar Shambara para...
There is a Zeus in the extra deck.
All right, okay.
Beautifully execution by Lorenzo nonetheless, and now, as mentioned, he gets to trigger this Rhino and is pretty much able to.
Hoy día me levanto y digo, oh, están en torneo. No estoy tan enterado de esto, pero dije, de los juegos, pero dije, bueno, hay que hacer una publicacioncita, ¿no?
But there's also the option of sending Sayama if he has another trap in the hand. He can actually continue playing. But it looks like we're going to go for the chamber here.
Okay, agrega
at least one because
la cámara.
Glamour, right? So
yeah, there's a glamour in hand.
Mejor coloca, cuando Shambara va al cementerio, coloca. El problema es el Concon, le va a estar tributando las cartas, ¿no? Hace Zeus.
Now the question is, do we have anything else to follow up on here, or will it just be a Zeus?
Juega, le dice.
Oh, wow, okay, that is just a pass back
okay,
here.
Fin de turno, efecto de Rica, se convoca especial del cementerio. El problema es que le va a tributar las cartas.
And is the princess? No, princess shuffled itself back here. So I feel like you are potentially inclined to...
Se lo tributa.
Maybe Zeus immediately was the play, right?
No estoy diciendo, lo iba a tributar. O sea, tenías que, antes de colocar tus cartas, saber usar efecto de Zeus, limpiarte la cancha, que regrese la Rica del cementerio, no había problema, pero ya. Bueno, tenía jugadas. Hola, hola, ¿cómo están? Ok.
Or for this turn, even so you use the Shavara from hand.
You are a genius.
I am.
That is a very good play, yeah.
Ahí está Terion Lily en la mano.
Despite Lorenzo actually playing this like super intelligently, and the way that he bluffed with that thrust pop, for example, that was incredible, by the way. It looks like Julius might have a decent amount of gas left here to take this turn.
Bueno, tiene la mano que puede jugar el Shavara que tiene y destruir la tumba, ¿no?
This is why you give your opponent Lava Golem, because then Petal does not come back.
Bueno, yo juego Lava Golem ahí, así que no hay problema.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
Ahí no hay problema.
Let's have a quiz on the percentage of Lava Golems this weekend.
Destruye, ok, tal como lo dije. Efecto de...
And there we have it. Shavara is going to pop the chamber that was still on the field, of course.
¿Qué vas a traer? Traerás...
another Unchained card from the deck. Are we going to summon?
Depende de lo que tengas en mano. Abomination.
Yeah. This feels like a really heavy investment by Lorenzo.
Ataque. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Claro.
I think he's got one card, right?
Doesn't look.
Descarta una carta y destruye una carta en el campo. Pero no. Bueno, sí, bueno, está bien.
Are destroying the petal.
No, destruiste el petal. Bueno, depende de lo que tenga, ¿no? No sé, no veo su mano. No sé cuántas cartas tiene en mano Julius.
Yeah.
I guess so, but the issue is if you then go for it in the previous turn, how do you still deal with this? Because you lose out on whatever play you had with the Unchained part of the deck, so I don't know. It doesn't seem like he had that great of an option. It looked probably better than it was actually was. He tried his best, but now, yeah, so many options available for Julius. Starting thing off here with the Ethereum part of the deck.
Se va al cementerio
we
y
got
trae a
Borea sending itself to add a copy of the Disc Coliseum.
Ajá, el Coliseo.
Coliseum can then get your Regulus, then you have a Negate.
And you have dealt with the Concon.
Yeah, Lorenzo has mind gamed Julius into summoning Lily Borea. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Regulus.
Of course.
Regulus. Oye, no destruye. Ah, no
the
destruye
issue
nada.
is like plants.
Okay, se equipa.
I feel like I want to say they struggle to deal with floating effects, but the
no.
Oh, okay. Big thrust here.
Triple tactic thrust.
That thrust is going to hurt a lot to Lorenzo. I think you can just go for every card. You can take talents.
Por las
you can look at the
ricas
hand. You can take a monster.
Van a tener que jugar Droll todavía.
Steal Abominable Soul, and that's going to be 3,000 easier damage to maintain.
Oh, that's a really direct way, but yeah, that works as well.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't think Lorenzo has anything else in hand, otherwise it probably would have been used as Julius was comboing unless we picked it up. That's a normal summon.
Okay, there he goes.
The most dangerous normal monster in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
It was shy in this game one, but finally decided to show up, and now...
Añades todo al cementerio. Que concedió. No le va a hacer larga Lorenzo.
Lorenzo did a decent amount of effort to try and crack that field. He was really patient on his hand trap. I think he used it as optimally as he could. But despite that, the plant deck just sort of overwhelming, right?
Absolutely. The Trust Bluff might have been the play of the weekend. I think that's just a mere consolation prize whether he will lose this match. But for now, it's still early, and I think it's a good catch to just pick up your cards. We know that the Rika deck is able to win in time if he ever gets to that point, so might as well just, save as much of the remaining as possible. And now he gets to go first, though, so no panicking. He needs to just take a look at his side deck, I guess. What do you think he has for this matchup?
Well, Lorenzo is probably not going to be putting in too much going first, although there is a copy of Mistaken Arrest. Now, that's a card we haven't seen in a while. I think I want to say since, like, Necro's format, although there's been a couple of iterations in the last few years. But it's a one-turn mistake, basically. It's just another version of Droll and Lockbird, which he is playing 3 copies. So, I mean, 6 ways to stop your plant opponent from searching. That's pretty good.
And it's true. And also, it is a bit better than Droll and Lockbird because you can actually use it before your opponent gets the Sunseed Sowing to the hand, which is a really, really strong card that just gets you 2 cards on the field immediately.
No, it is really strong, and I mean, it was a good read on all the Flowanderies and tier elements we've seen this weekend, so definitely an interesting decision, playing 6 copies essentially with the Droll.
And this is also a 2-turn
A ver, contra el Rika, Droll.
Next turn, which is really relevant. Against Flowanderies, exactly, and another Italian player.
Lleva algunos Lava Golem o el Nibiru, ¿no? Nibiru le duele, pero como va a empezar primero.
Absolutely.
So now, look, I mean,
el Unchained, así que no creo.
To be fair, we saw him, the match lined up so that he played against Flu, so it makes sense that he won. Now
if you're in Rome, do as the Romans, right?
I guess.
Is that how the saying goes?
No, I'm not sure.
Not really. But what do you think on the other end? Julius, obviously, against what was expected to be the most popular deck. What do you think he's going to do with this Rika?
Going first with Rika, I
think
the deck is well positioned in a way that you want to just pull off your combo, I think is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We spoke about it in a different feature match earlier, but one of the coolest cards that he's running is Spiritual Water Art Aoi as a target for talents, which means it's a way to loop a card out your opponent's hand. And Naturia Rose Whip as well is very important, particularly against Unchained, which has a lot of power spells.
Or Sky Striker.
Yeah, although we are going to go second for this game, so he's probably going to first side in.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
we're going to go second, so...
Lightning Storms, Pancratops, Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse not really
all of that.
Best card going second in this matchup, although you can Book of Eclipse the...
solo tiene que cuidarse de las canchas.
I'm pretty sure Julius knows better than us, and our duelists are ready. Let's go back to Game 2 and find out the winner.
Los dos duelistas están listos. Vamos para el duelo 2. Juego 2. Okay.
Right, game number 2 here. Lorenzo faltering there, unfortunately, under the weight of a
Lorenzo empieza.
Genius Loci as he gets to go first in this top 4 match and begin with the Unchained strategy. Will we see a humble little combo that respects Nibiru? Lots of different ways to
claro,
play
se espera
around
que
that.
tenga Nibiru, ¿no?
Lorenzo knows all of the different columns in the spreadsheet for the different Unchained combos. And yeah, the DD monster, the Caesar.
Ok. No, va a destruir. ¿Qué?
No, okay.
Wow, this does not seem
Abrió muy mal, abrió muy mal,
and the next worst thing that can happen is the Loci normal summon. It is
unexpected day. Bueno, seguro la va a meter Ash.
The crowd is cheering. This is going to special
Está
summon
pensando,
out the
está
Loci, not
pensando.
even using the normal summon. If you have an Ash,
Ok,
you kind of have to
trae la
throw it
plantita.
Right here, right?
The set monster is not part
Sunset
of the spreadsheet,
Genius
I
Lock.
think. So Lorenzo just not having
Ajá, manda al
anything
cementerio.
to do
Trae
it.
el árbol.
Played around Nibiru. You wanted him to play around Nibiru.
Busca.
Yeah, that is one way to do it, I suppose, but this is really
No
unfortunate
llevó
for
Droll.
Lorenzo. Let's see if we've got
Ahí está, perfecto. Droll. Tal como lo dije. Droll. Droll es la carta que para esa vaina.
Oh, yeah.
Si no, ya se la hace. Le pega. Ok, Sarama.
That's great, because it triggers your own Dryas.
Yep, so you get to special summon the healer out of the extra deck. Now, the question is, can we go further? Ooh, not really. Like, it's hard to
A
play
ver, a ver, a ver.
Droll and Lockboard with plants, honestly.
Bueno, con Droll sí lo va a parar, ¿no?
With the links into Bengal Lancer, potentially, but this is not really ideal. If this is all Julius has, then Lorenzo could be shaping up to be in a decent spot here. Dance Upon, okay, we're going to go on the Sylvan. Here we go, milling 3, 1 plant, and 2
Die.
Sylvan Dance Beyond here, hitting Madan.
Dos plantas.
Wow, that's
Se emociona, se
Unfortunately,
emociona.
Madan won't be able to add here, but we do have the Princess, which is a negate, so that's
good find.
Can it attribute itself from from the field? I assume
Bueno,
so.
es main 2, ¿no? No pasa nada.
From your hand or GY?
Hand or graveyard, okay,
Yeah,
all
but
right.
still.
Not getting too ahead of ourselves here, but wow, incredible.
Worst case scenario, you can even go for adjustments in line, right? So
Yeah, I mean, proving that Dante Mill 3 really is still just one of the greatest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, here we are just special summoning 2 plants for free out of the top of the deck.
Did Dante do that as well?
Yeah, if you mill Grafton's here.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, was that a pass from Julius?
No,
I
no,
think
no.
he kind of pointed.
no, I just
Está
asked how many
pensando.
cards were in the end, and they
Está
are two
pensando.
cards left
Alright.
for Lorenzo.
So still under Droll and Lockbird, remember? So I think Julius is just trying to navigate some sort of way to maybe end on like the Rika Queen or a Strenna. Oh, Droplet, okay.
Okay, Droplet.
Drop from the hand to negate the Sarama.
Efecto, lo
and then
niega.
using the- oh, is
Efecto
there
para
a
enviar al
bonus effect
cementerio.
of the
Exit.
Dantheon? Oh, it copies the levels.
Ajá, se copia el nivel.
Oh, okay, really neat. Wow. Yeah, Dante didn't do
Efecto.
that, unfortunately. All right. Very good removal as well here. We're tributing monsters, which means that
Dice,
if
efecto
each
rápido, tú puedes seleccionar un monstruo en el campo, tribútalo. Uy, sí, este es el que tributa. Se fregó.
And on top of that, getting the
Princess.
yeah, getting the princess into
Okay.
the graveyard. Wow, Julius is just in such an incredible spot here. That's really unfortunate that Lorenzo just could not play like that. It looks like a pass back almost.
Ese es lo malo del Rika, ¿ves?
Yeah,
Si
we're
le dejas que
not
te
quite
tribute,
sure.
ya.
He stopped the draw phase in its tracks. And now I think that Lorenzo has a triple tactic talents in his hand. This
Yeah,
might
that's
be a way
talents
to win.
is I mean, you need something to force your opponent to do something. So if we can't draw anything that actually helps us, you know, fulfill the activation requirement, then he's
Bueno,
gonna
tiene
be
dos
stuck
cartas.
here.
O sea que tiene dos monstruos más en mano. Debe tener alguno de los chiquitos de los Unchained.
Get back to the action.
Probablemente.
Yeah, I think we're just clarifying
¿Pero
some
qué
of
tenías en mano?
interactions
Nibiru.
so far.
Sí.
But yeah, in a really good spot.
Debe
so
tener
far,
Nibiru
sí.
porque no ha jugado. Si hubiera tenido
Yeah,
combo, hubiera jugado
absolutely,
con
and
Unchained y se
now,
juega
as we
rápido.
mentioned, our judges are just checking out the previous play, noticing if everything was corrected with a few questions, and you know, a little bit of a language barrier also between the players, so it makes sense that they want to make sure that everything is clear to both as the play continues.
I really love the Sylvan Dance Pion. I think I've commentated so many featured matches where Sylvan was just like dead in his tracks, couldn't really play anymore. Let's just put 2 plants together, Dance Pion,
plants together,
summon everything.
We were cheering for Thielemann because, you know, we wanted to see a lot of milling from the deck. We
That's
got
so
it.
much better.
We got it.
Just about the same thing,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, not really much difference there. Plants, I mean, is this going to be a story where, I don't know, what is it with European events and plants, you know?
When will we
It
learn?
could be, it could be. Yeah, when do they learn, to be fair.
That is true. I mean, we know.
Yeah, of
we
course.
know. We know.
Of course. No, but it's definitely a deck that is out there.
¿Qué pasó ahí?
It does perform, apparently, at these huge events. When you don't prepare for it, it makes sense. At the same time, though, we might have jinxed it, because we mentioned that the deck can sometimes break. Instead, it was Unchained that ended up breaking. And I don't know, I feel like the deck, we talked about it a little bit. You are forced to play these many one-offs that you really don't want to draw into.
Like the Sarama that he had to set there.
Exactly. So sometimes you do get into this kind of ends. And what can you say? Obviously, you feel bad for Lorenzo. He is still technically in this. So let's see how that goes. The Droll Lock plus Ash was good enough to stop his opponent from not going.
El Droll sí lo para, pero.
Yeah, it's definitely heartbreaking to just set one and pass in top 4.
La abrió muy mal, o sea, o ha robado 2 Drolls, ¿no? De repente, quién sabe.
It is what it is. It's the nature of the game, right? Sometimes you draw the cards, sometimes you don't draw the cards.
That is very wise, Nadir.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Como dice, a ver si robas cartas o no robas cartas.
In general, as mentioned,
en general, como has mencionado,
very much so on whether they can draw their few entrops, because Lorenzo is not on many. We have seen different directions with the Unchained deck, but usually they don't seem to appreciate, a lot of those in the main deck, especially.
Yeah, they're on a lot of talents cards, Thrust and.
Están diciendo que hay un montón de a lot of Thrust.
Those are really strong to play through fields. It protects you from your opponent's hand traps. This is why also so many players cut the hand traps. This is always like the situation where people are picking up on cards that counter hand traps, then people don't run the hand traps anymore. And this is why combo decks thrive. We have seen so many Manadium decks already this weekend because the players are not really running those Nibiru's and those Lockbirds in the main decks.
Yeah, I suppose that's one of the main advantages of being able to have the foresight to be, okay, well, so many hand traps in the meta, let's cut hand traps, or maybe change up the strategy completely, go for a combo deck. And, well, what can I say? It's working out pretty nicely for Julius here, despite the fact that, he's gone second and he's still managed to, overcome. Admittedly, Lorenzo hasn't opened too well. But regardless, still playing through 2 disruptions is not too
It's definitely a tough one, but as mentioned, we went through 9 rounds of Swiss yesterday, followed by 3 and top 64 today. So let's review real quick while we wait for the head judge to arrive, the journey that they had to go through. So let's bring up the bracket for the top cut and see what they had to go through, who they had to defeat to be here at the top 4. So the bracket for top 32, please.
Please, production. Give us the bracket. But first of all, I want to mention something else. Lorenzo has set a monster.
Let him cook.
If he did not set the monster to basically defend himself, and if your opponent really combos off, what are you gonna do with the defense monster?
Okay.
Right, there we go.
Avanza. Todavía no saben de Julius y Sebastián, ¿no? Del grupo 2.
What can I say? There's a lot of different amazing players that we've seen
bueno, fue
into this top cut of 2,500 players. I mean, there's people like Tom. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his surname, but he was
well.
Okay, nice.
No worries.
But yeah, Julius, we are seeing here. I think he's the main star, we can say, of this side of the bracket. He was the one who won it, and what a journey! He had to defeat Samir Bashar, which we had the pleasure of featuring. But then also, I mean, Liang, we said it, he was the last, one of the last Spanish players at the event, and Sebastian Ma, another top contender, the last purely, although you mentioned it, purely Sprite.
Okay, purely Sprite en el otro lado, creo.
Tough one, I guess.
Hansen was also on that side of the bracket as well, very notable player, world's competitor in his own right, so a couple of good names up here, JCP. And Lorenzo, of course, has been fighting his way through.
Yeah, and it seems like he had quite a different journey. I would say not the same level of names in terms of, past achievements, but he had to face a lot of his fellow Italians, both in top 16 and in top 8, and both of them were actually his teammates, weirdly enough. So
buscaría el top, ¿no? De estos. ¿Cuántos habría?
And many other players that have not really had that much success in past tournaments. There are some names that I do not really recognize, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in other tournaments.
Absolutely, I mean, and that's how it is. When you have such like this event, 2,580 players registering for an event, obviously you're gonna have some of those names keeping their success and keeping their spot in the top card. But yeah, it would be weird if we didn't get some new names here and there, and that seems like to be the case, especially here. We do have a few very good players that we have had success Lorenzo is a national champion. Sofian got close to, you know, winning a tournament this season. But
new stories are to be written, you know, with a new season.
Yep.
A lot of these names, pay attention to them throughout the circuit as we approach YCS Bologna and further beyond after that. We'll see just what happens, especially closing into. It feels like it's a long way away, but so many of these players will already be thinking
el día 1 habían dos ex dominantes, Unchained, Purely y Cherlamen, ¿no? Básicamente 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, ¿no? Pero bueno, los otros 50% eran otros decks, ¿no?
14-year-old.
yes.
14 years old, comes to his first YCS as a non-Dragon Duel player and immediately tops. How crazy is that? Do you think that he will pick up the grind?
You know, I think he should quit now and have a 100% top rate.
Oh,
yeah. Never not top.
Pero no hay nada del breakdown day Q, ¿no?
True, yeah. just be good.
Just be like Marcello.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know if I
would retired?
Oh.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So this is quite the process. Do we know what's going on here at all?
Yeah,
do we have
absolutely.
An update for the players?
We do have an update for you guys. What went happening with the match was that I mean, as you could tell, both of them had you know, a pace that was maybe a little under the regular one. So Lorenzo in game 1 received already a warning for slow play, and the same exact situations now has happened to his opponent. But the thing is, Julius already had a previous warning against Samir in our previous future matches. So in this case, it is procedure to just have the head judge to figure out whether that can be upgraded to a game loss, which in a way would be a shame for him, but that would mean that we go to game 3. But I mean, that's how the
game
rules
loss.
are, and sometimes it can be, it's not for sure. There is something that should be reviewed, and whether that happens will be the decision of the head judge, which is not final yet. So once we get a final decision, we'll let you guys know. So I guess we actually can go back to the match. So yeah, absolutely. So I can confirm you guys, the final decision has been an additional warning, but no upgrade. So we're going back to the match and they can continue.
Le han dado un warning.
We are so. Let me cook again a little bit while entering this game. If he didn't set the Sarama, Dryas couldn't have attacked it, received damage, and couldn't have gone into the...
No entendí qué pasó por estar distraído buscando cartas, pero me parece que ha cometido un slow play, algo así.
If you're playing in the future versus Rika, and you haven't read any of the cards,
just pass.
Just pass.
Coloco una carta, efecto de... Sharvara.
Alright, we've got some plays here. Lorenzo has a set card and a Shavara in the hand here, activating to attempt a special summon as we enter his, I suppose, second attempt of trying to play the game here.
Is this gonna be a mind game just like game 1?
Lo malo es que lo que traiga se lo va a tributar, ¿no? Pero bueno. Si sobrevive lo puede hacer.
So if that's a bait, I think now Julius might be onto him.
Es un anzuelo, dice.
I personally am a fan of just negating this. You do lose your Sylvan
Cae.
Master, but okay, all right, let's see. What did we pop?
Oh, no. Efecto.
But we've got the Abominable Soul in the hand here.
Ah,
I don't think we have
tenía.
any cards in hand, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
but
that was,
it has a lot of attack points.
It does. It's big. Yeah, true. Not wrong. It will be big enough to threaten the Queen, which can be used to tribute away the Abominable Soul, which does not trigger the Grave effect here. So I think actually what we're doing is deciding that we Princess negate this, but actually choosing to not negate it. It's actually it's not a threat, right? There's no cards in hand. We just have a Shavara, so we just tribute it off.
No tiene mano, o sea, solo tiene una carta en mano.
We only have Shavara left.
Y ya está ganando Julius, 1-0. Oye, oye. ¿Qué vas a hacer? Pego.
Definitely want to get rid of the Sylvan Dance Peon in case we get
Efecto.
cards out, but that's a protection effect.
Remuevo para evitar destrucción.
Capabilities of sowing in the graveyard.
Be honest, did you know about it?
Ya no tiene jugadas. ¿Qué vas a hacer? Lorenzo, estás fregado.
Yeah, that just happened there. I knew all along, you know. Of course.
Juega.
And that's it.
That's a pass from Lorenzo.
Julius now in the driving seat.
A ver, esperemos que no tenga nada para que lo mate, ¿no? Ajá. Hola, hola chicos, ¿cómo están? Está fregado Lorenzo, no tiene nada.
I mean, is Sylvan Dance Peon only on Link Summon?
Awesome.
What a top deck.
Smart word.
Check if that Dance Peon is on Link Summon, or if it's just...
Muestra Regulus.
I want to say it's...
on Summon, right?
Supongo que agregará...
Unfortunately, we won't be able to just eat Ellie for 3.
What a top deck it is indeed.
Lily.
Right, so the bridge of Regulus into
Y ahora agrega algo de lo que tenga Lily, ¿no? Planta, planta, planta. Ok.
Bridging over to the petal, which
ya, se va boca abajo. Ya agrega petal, ¿no? Ok.
We're adding petal here. Petal is the
normal de petal. Efecto. Va a añadir. Este creo que añade cualquier carta rica o la cancha, creo, no recuerdo bien. Está fregado, Ok, agrega el monstruo rica.
Yeah, the only thing that stands between Julius and game here is a Shavara, which is not too much of a threat. It sets a card,
efecto.
Sets a card that unfortunately won't be able to be used this turn, so we just have to navigate through a single 2000.
Agrega cancha Concon.
But there is the Concon, and you know, the Concon gives you access to the Glamour, so could get as simple as that.
You can even tribute away the Shavara, and then you're almost at game already.
Yeah, exactly. So
activo.
It seems very tough for the Italian to still stay in this.
Añadir.
Rika.
Añado Rika
moments away from advancing to the finals of the first YCS of the season of
Activo.
YCS Dortmund. Rika Glamour is used to tribute Shavara.
Tributa Shavara. Efecto Shavara, ¿no?
The search is being conducted by Julius.
Almost reluctantly does Lorenzo consider activating the effect of Shavara here, but it's a commiseration prize of sorts as
no vas a activar efecto Shavara.
Pushing forward with this plant deck, activating the effect of the Glamour to search out here, gets out the copy of the Princess into the deck, even to negate the Shavara, not even allowing him to get a set card. Although we should definitely be able to navigate through game here as we go and activate the Camilla in the hand on the new chain because a plant was tributed, special summoning itself.
Oye, que no vas a activar el efecto de Shavara. Ya murió, o sea... Rika le dio la vuelta al pobrecito. Ok, la final ahora, ¿no? Ahora la final. En la final no sé quiénes están, creo que Rika, de hecho. Me parece que Purely, creo, o Sprite, uno de los dos.
Now there is one guaranteed in the finals, and what a show off it was from the Rika deck. Also going second, obviously the break from Lorenzo helped out.
Ah, sí. Lorenzo robó muy mal, ¿no? Robó ladrillos a pesar de haber robado Droll.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just the climate over here or something that's in the food and the water that we've been eating. The plants is just the deck in Europe. I mean, gosh, it's how many YCSs and Premier events, 2 European Championships, a YCS, and now we're looking at potentially Dortmund here. It's honestly quite incredible how this deck keeps pushing forward.
Por ejemplo, lo que estaba buscando era, para que vean, más o menos, cuántos... Vamos a ver...
I like control-ish decks. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of big combo decks, but you cannot disregard the plant deck. Rika Sun Avalon is absolutely fantastic in what it does. Every time at an event where players think, okay, this is an established control format, players bring Rika, nobody can stop their combos, the deck is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and it's as easy as that. I mean, today and this weekend,
bueno, en este caso hay bastantes. Aguante. Aquí quería mostrarles esto, ¿no? El tiebreak, ¿no? O sea, mejor dicho, los decks que habían. Y de todo esto, pues 11% Unchained, ¿no? A ver, vamos a ver con el top.
YCS Bologna. You're going to have Leo Sebastian.
Finals.
Yes.
Finales.
Ed's going to take over here with a player interview with Julius with this top 4 feature match. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Ed, take it away.
Solo queda la final.
And thank you and Marcello, for all that you've done throughout the coverage this weekend. We'll see you guys in Bologna. And like you said, we'll see Leo in just a moment. But forget about the final for now, because this top 4 was just won by none other than Julius right here.
A ver, Julius.
He has made his way in to said final that I just told you to ignore. Don't ignore it anymore, because that final is now about to come.
Es la final.
Julius, how are you feeling? You're in the final of YCS Dortmund.
¿Cómo te sientes, Julius?
It's pretty amazing.
Muy feliz.
Couldn't believe I go so far. But yeah, it worked out.
Confiaba llegar así directo, algo así.
It has worked out for you. Rika, really good representation. A lot, obviously, the last European champion, Rika. And here we go. You might be the first one of this season to top with Rika. It's very exciting. So, as we go through this game quickly, pretty much, do you want to talk us through it? There was a lot of, pretty much, you just made Lorenzo not able to do anything. That's the basic summary of it. I don't want to keep you too long because we need you to prepare mentally for this final.
Prepárate
mentalmente. What was going through your mind in those games where you were just dominating the field?
Yeah, like game 1, sadly I couldn't open the normal monster, the Lokai, so I had to like play with the Rika cards, and I got ashed on the spell. It's really good ash, but yeah, I still passed on a fine board, and it was enough to beat.
Then game 2, I mean, Lorenzo started clearly quite badly. A set one pass.
Pobre Lorenzo, pobre Lorenzo.
But did that affect you too much? Didn't destabilize you?
Yeah, he would have been dead if they both weren't there. Like, if the ash wasn't there, he would have been dead. But with the droplet play,
jugó droplet.
Like, think, do I really just send now the level 8 to make both level 8? At the end, I think it was more worth, because like you get a tribute and a negate and you remove the body. It was like just more worth, I think.
It was great, some great tactics. Really
bueno, es more worth though, yeah.
Capable of, and we're going to see just how far you can go with it in this final. We'll give you some time to decompress.
A ver si tenemos acá subtítulos, ¿no? Vamos con la final y vamos a dar algo de tiempo para que los chicos descansen, ¿no? Ok. Ahora esperar la final, Esperar la final. Esa música de fondo que le ponen. Bueno, vamos a esperar la final mientras.
Keep it up, 'cause now I'm back. We're going in.
Big brother, you're here, you're here.
A ver, volvimos. A ver, lo que decía, ¿no? Estaba tratando de buscar cuánto era la asistencia por países. A ver, el día 1, ¿no? Y aquí teníamos justamente esto, ¿no? De todos los decks, los Unchained 11%, Pure el 10%, Tournament 9%. Miren, la mayoría usa cementerio, ¿no? Por lo menos Unchained, Tournament. Y hoy no sé por qué no había, bueno, Rika estaría dentro de esos otros 52, ¿no? Y de ahí lo que más me llamó la atención, bueno, obviamente es un campo europeo. este torneo 58% es de Alemania. Bueno, es Dortmund, ¿qué esperabas? 11% de Francia, 6% de Italia, 6% de Reino Unido, 4% Noruega, Suiza 3% y otros 12%. Eso es lo único que me llamó la atención. Y ya, nada más. O sea, estamos bien. Ahora veremos por la final. Creo que va a ser la final Rika versus... Oh, esta carta que todavía no le dan bola. La carta que hay. ¿Cuál carta es? No sé si es esa. Espera. Es buena carta, pero mientras exista Dimensional Barrier va a seguir relegando, ¿no? Oye, eso. ¿Qué carta es esta? ¿Qué es? Ah. No distingo qué carta es. Ahí alguien en el chat. ¿Qué carta es esta? Ah, ya. ¿Cómo se llama? Snatch Steel. Snatch Steel. Claro, si solo me muestras la manito, bueno. Ahora sí, pues Snatch Steel. Obvio. Ahora esperemos la final. Bueno. Ahora, esa carta, bueno, un pedacito. Parece una carta magia. Sí, o de ritual, algo así. Ah, mira tú. Card Destruction, puede ser. Puede ser Card Destruction. O Into the Void. Into the Void creo que es. Sí. Sí, es Into the Void, ¿ves? Eso. Porque ahí está el Inferno. Hay que esperar, chicos. Vamos a bajar un poquito el volumen para que no esté muy fuerte. Bueno, esta también es antigua, ¿no? A ver. Ah, ya. Creo que esta es la de Jamón Muria. Jamón. Ajá. Aunque tiene patas de dragón. Ah, no. No. Esta es... No, es algo de... Algo parecida con Trade Inc, ¿no? Claro. Trade Inc, ¿ves? Claro, sí. Trade Inc. Estamos bien. No se acuerda de las cartitas. ¿Eso qué es? A ver. Me suena esta. ¿Qué carta es esta? Ya sé. De los Karakuri creo que es esta. ¡Ah, no! Es Overlord. Overlord Fusion, ¿no? No, es Over... ¿Cómo se llama esta? Es una carta Over que destruye los monstruos de cara... con mayor ataque, algo así era. Ah, Overworked, ¿ves? Overworked, exactamente. Ahí está, ¿eh? Todavía me acuerdo. Overworked. ¿Por qué se...? se retrasa tanto esto? A ver, a ver. Ah, bueno, este es muy fácil. Este es anti-spell. Están poniéndolas fácil, ¿no? Anti-spell by Price. Obvio. Anti-spell. Ok. Muy chiquita la figura, pero... ¿qué es? Parece una nariz, una punta de qué. Ah, ya sé. Este es un Time Lord. Ah, no. Sí, parece un Time Lord. Ah, no. No, ahí cambia la figura. Este es Chainsaw. Monstruo de... es insecto, es Chainsaw. Todavía me acuerdo. Ajá. Chainsaw. La siguiente carta. Se están acordando cartas de la vieja escuela. Uf. Bien vieja. Cañones. ¿Qué es? Un dinosaurio, ok. Ah, no, la pata de Kuribo. La flauta Kuribo. La flauta de Kuribo. Invoca a todos los Kuribos, creo. Toma un Kuribo al lado de tu deck y agrégalo a cualquier mano o convócalo. Siguiente carta. Okay. Algo oscuro, un espíritu ahí atrás. O lo que sea. Cosmic Cyclone. Aunque no, creo que sí, ¿eh? Parece Cosmic Cyclone. No. Esto es Different Dimension Ground. Sí. Different Dimension Ground. Different Dimension Ground. Ok, vamos a cortar esto y vamos a poner la final, ¿no?, del Dortmund.